Hello, I'm Walia, and I'm currently writing a book called Iconicism, which is about how icons become icons. I am over 6 months into this project now, making it the longest I have ever worked on my own book. If you are new here, hello. I am currently halfway through writing chapter 3 of 9. I had attempted to do a writing sprint, and I planned on finishing this before the second week of March was over. It is now the second week of April, or the start of the third week of April. I can't count. And it is still not done. So part 1 of this was me trying to do the writing sprint. Part 2 is this one right now, where I'm just going to try and write it. The sooner the better. I don't know if I should call it a writing sprint or not, but I'm going to put myself under a certain amount of pressure to get some results. So far in the chapter, I have introduced Matty and a bit of the 1975 and talked about how people perceive Matty to be controversial and provocative, and how he is committed to doing a bit, some kind of performance, to help him mediate the experience of being in front of tens of thousands of people most nights of the year when they're on tour, and also just being a regular human being negotiating this postmodern world. I've also introduced the concept of persona, Jung's concept of persona, and how that ties into this bit, and how icons need a very carefully or well-constructed persona that they use to become iconic and also do whatever their work is, and that is a concept we get to later. So in this part of the chapter, I want to talk about Matty's persona, what he's like on stage, off stage, detail some of the quote-unquote controversy, because that is very subjective and many people have many different ideas about it. And then I'm linking that to how a persona acts as the proxy for the human and how that aids in them becoming iconic. So that's just this chunk of the chapter, doing 3 different chunks. This is the second of 3 chunks. So I've had no motivation. I have not been motivated to write this for the past few weeks, so I let myself have some time off. I don't feel like coming back and writing it. I would be happy if I never wrote it again, because I just don't feel it within me right now. But that's a really normal part of the process. So I've just been looking at the chapter today. I read it, I edited it a bit, I started a second draft because I'm going to change some stuff around. And just today I'm going to talk about Matty's persona, and to do that I'm just going to read a lot of articles and pull quotes and kind of take it from there. Ease myself in. I only spent a few hours writing today, and then I've got the next 5 days to really get stuck into hopefully a large chunk of this chapter. Literally love that song. Love it. Part of the band. Do you honestly not see how amazing the 1975 are? That's kind of assuming that you know who they are, you don't like them or something, but that song just exemplifies so much of what I love about them. Fuck off, ad. So this is where I'm up to right now, with all the notes that I left myself. Always got my outline here. Then I've got this because I really want to. It's a great interview that I have watched before. It goes to 3 hours. Oops. So feeling a bit stuck about where to start, but thankfully this is what I left myself before I stopped writing last time. Look at all the articles I have to read. I've just had such a major emotional and psychological breakthrough / realization about why I'm struggling so much with this chapter. And it is because Matty follows me, but it's not because I feel necessarily pressure through that. It's that I feel like it is putting me in a position where I'm subconsciously and otherwise forced to perform for him. Not that that's his intention, not that he's even paying attention to me, but having that awareness that he's there is meaning that everything I do is more or less in relation to him following me. I can't escape that because it's a thing that's happened. And throughout my life, I have always resented being in those situations where I'm expected to perform when I just want to create or I just want to be myself. And I did some really interesting research and writing many months ago now around how the critique of things on the internet, say for example, critique of Matty Healy or his music, is actually the performance of the fan, and why so many people are taking to the internet to be critical is because that is how they're able to perform, and it's how they're able to say, oh yes, I understand this song, and look at me, and I don't like it because I'm a music expert. It's their only kind of way of being seen. And I don't like being put in a position where I'm suddenly a fan performing for someone. And I think maybe that's the key part. Like, it puts in place a particular power dynamic where he is above me, I am below him, performing for him. Not that that's his intention, not that that's necessarily what's happening, but that's just how it subconsciously feels, and that's the power dynamic. Of course the power dynamic exists. He is a wealthy, famous, very experienced, very well known person who I look up to immensely. I am an independent, virtually unknown person in the world. So him following me instantly put that dynamic in play. It's just how it is. So now everything I do is in that context, and that's what I don't like. Whereas if I had written the book and then he liked it and then he followed me, that would be a different dynamic, right? That would be him being a fan of mine, and he could still be following me because he is a fan of mine. But it's this sense that now that because I'm writing the book about him and I am a fan of his, it's like I feel this pressure to perform. So now I have to perform when I'm just trying to figure shit out. But the me figuring shit out is the performance right now. That's why you're here. That's why you're watching this. That is the entertainment. That is me in doing what I'm meant to do as a writer. It's 11:20 on Monday. I have still not really written anything. I didn't write yesterday, but today I'm at my computer just collecting a lot of information for this next piece on Matty. Generally when I'm stuck, the best thing I can do is just go read a lot and take a lot of direct quotes and take a lot of notes, and I stick it all directly into the document, and then I just start writing, drawing on everything that I've collected. That is my creative process. Like, that is the best thing that I can do for myself, because I like to respond to things, so I need to give myself something to respond to. What is so interesting and frustrating about writing is that I think some people genuinely write to escape, but when I write, it literally brings everything else in my life up as well, even if that's not what I'm writing about. So that's why it takes me so long. The writing part is the easiest and the fastest part of this whole process, but my own limitations and fears and my own life is what gets in the way of creating, but it's what I need to create. I need my life to keep happening and be great. Otherwise, I wouldn't want to be writing this book, because I'd be miserable. And it's the tension of not having written this book that keeps me motivated. It's just unfortunate that anything that is not quite working right in my life, any kind of vulnerability, comes up as well. I wish it didn't have to. But now that I've accepted that this is just going to take longer than I want it to, I'm able to settle into a different kind of pace. Okay, so I just took all the notes that I had taken and tried to figure out how to fit them into a flow, because there's so many. There are so many things that I want to capture. So I thought about breaking down, so this is the title of, the subheading of this part, this performance of a postmodern rock star. Within that, the notes that I've taken and the quotes that I've pulled are pertaining to Matty's lyricism, his onstage persona, what he's like on social media, and then the controversy surrounding him. And then a lot of it speaks to this duality of being, or the complexity that arises from being who he is and trying to have a point of view, and often not even trying to have a point of view. So that's where I'm putting that here. So now everything is in its correct little heading, but I mean, there is a lot, and I'm not going to use most of this, but I've kept it all within its bigger quote for context. So it really does help me write, like inform what I'm writing, even if I don't leave any, like I'm going to take like 10% or less of all of this. It's 11:28 and I am done for the day. I've written enough. I'm making progress. Just synthesizing, condensing all of these articles that I've taken quotes from and written notes on. It's not anywhere near where I want it to be, but I think I'm just chopping everything up and putting it in where it needs to go, writing all the sentences in and amongst all the quotes to join it all together, to make sense of it. And then once I get it all in there, then I can go back through and add my analysis and build my theory through that. Because I just need to get a really clear image of exactly what secondary material that I'm working with. And that will help me formulate my argument. Because of course I already know what my argument is, but it really depends how what I need to do is craft how I put it all together and build on it and show it interwoven with these sources. Good morning. It's Wednesday. It's day 4 of me trying to write and day 3 of me actually writing in this new non-sprint era. I was in the worst mood this morning. I'm a week out from getting my period, and I know I talk about this a lot. And I guess if you don't have ovaries, maybe that's unrelatable, or if you don't have hormonal issues, maybe that's unrelatable. But my hormones have the ability to completely upend any logical thinking. And so as soon as I feel that hormonal shift and the anxiety starts to set in and like the mood swings set in, I do really notice it. And that happened last night. So I'm just trying to roll with it. Otherwise, I lose at least 2 weeks of my month. First to the hormonal shift and the downwards like spiral to getting my period, then the getting the period and trying to recover from it. Anyway, shitty morning, opened up my laptop and begrudgingly started trying to write and literally did the worst writing of my life since I became a writer. You know, like I know some people write like shit and then like they keep working on it until it's good, and that's part of their process. And I really don't mean this as me being a wanker, but I'm used to writing in a way that is really polished and it comes out close to perfect. Whereas I've worked with lots of writers who are just literally like poo poo pee pee and it's all one big kind of garbage jumble, and then they just like chip away at it until it becomes a masterpiece, right? The way that I have been very fortunate to write is different to that, in the sense that I go bam, it's done. But not today. I wrote some absolute trash, and I think the mistake was me being in an absolutely foul mood, not wanting to write, and then starting to write, and within the first 3 minutes expecting excellence. So obviously that didn't work out too well for me. However, I deleted everything that I really didn't like, which felt good, and then I just stuck with it. And somehow it's only been like 45 minutes. I have written everything that I wanted to write today. I wanted to conclude this section where I'm talking about Matty's persona. kind of say some things to like really draw all the pieces together and do some of my analysis and critique and my argument, which I have not been doing properly, by the way. My writing overall in this chapter I am not pleased with, but I have just been like of the mindset where I just want to get it down. If anyone were to read it, they'd be like, oh yes, this is a thing. Like, it's not that janky, but it's not where I want it to be. But it all just came together in a really quick way. And I am freaking relieved because I thought I was going to have a meltdown over writing today. But instead, 500 words later, I've done the thing. And I'm ready to move on to the next part of the chapter. Today is the 29th of April, and this chapter I wanted to be one of two that I finish in March. So that didn't happen, and now I am determined to finish it this month, meaning I have today and tomorrow to pull something out of my ass. I'm frustrated. I gave myself time. Going slower did not work because I slowed down so much that I did not write. So today I'm going to write about artistry, how it's the synthesis of self and society, and how it's artists that are capable of being the most iconic. And I am talking about Matty Healy's artistry, and making an argument for why his persona is iconic. It's 1:25 and I am halfway through everything I wanted to do today. I've got one of 3 sections done. And my plan was to do 2 of 3 today. So I'm currently up to the part where I want to talk about The Truman Show and... So in this part... I'm filming.
Okay. You can film here and I'll be quiet.
I want to talk about The Truman Show and then Truman Black. Because interestingly, Matty goes by Truman Black online. And he's also started releasing music under that name as well. And it's an interesting commentary on his experience of being a musician celebrity and just the subjectivity of reality. So I'm excited to write about it. I still feel like this chapter is wildly like I'm out of my depth for some reason. But I've been working really hard to rework the chapter and rewrite it and to get a better control of what I'm writing. And of course, in order to do that, I've put more of my own personal story back through it just so I can properly control the narrative.
I believe Truman is the first child to have been legally adopted by a corporation.
That's correct.
Brilliant.
What if everyone you knew was pretending?
I did not write everything that I wanted to yesterday. I was feeling good. I sat down and I just couldn't do it. So today I'm going to try and finish the part that I didn't yesterday, and if I'm lucky, finish the entire chapter. I'm not feeling confident that I can. I plan to finish this book and then go straight into postgraduate research study. And the only way that I am going to do that is if I finish the book first, because I don't want to add more to what I'm already doing, and I don't want to get distracted from writing this book. But yesterday I saw that the program that I've now decided that I really want to be part of, EOI is closed for it tomorrow. So I then spent a long time trying to get everything together for that and put together a research proposal. And that's still not done. So now I've got these 2 conflicting timelines. I want to try and finish the book chapter today. I also need to put everything together for this EOI. And to top it all off, someone at my workplace has had to go into surgery and I'm having to cover for them this week. So I go to work at 3 o'clock today and tomorrow and the next day and the next day. So that really cuts down my time and mentally affects me. I wrote over 1,000 words for the first time in a really long time. I'm actually like really surprised, but I've been feeling this coming. I'm feeling like my output is building, and that's an amazing feeling because I've been waiting for over 6 months for this to happen with the book, where I can just sit down and write a large chunk of work all at once. I didn't finish the final part of this chapter, but I'm so happy with what I wrote today. Like, I am so happy. So that's a win. I'm not going to have it finished by the end of April, but tomorrow, May 1, it's within reach. I can do it. I've waited 4 years for everything to come together like this. And if this is really it, if this is really the moment, then I am so freaking happy. It finally feels like I'm properly understanding Matty and everything's properly falling into place. Before it felt like he was an estranged cousin, but now it's like he's a much closer relative. Good morning. It's just starting to rain outside. It is Thursday, May 2, and I have not finished the chapter yet. But I did complete my thesis proposal. So that's progress, I guess. I am underslept, working a lot of night shift at the moment, and our fire alarms are broken, so they're going off around 4 and 5 in the morning. So I don't feel great. I've got a migraine, but I'm going to try and finish this chapter right now. I know this whole thing needs another redraft, so with that in mind, I'm just going to go for it and finish writing today, polish it up, complete the references, and move on, and come back to it another time with a different perspective. Do I look like Voldemort?
Do I look like, I don't know, yogurt boy?
You do look like Yogurt Boy. So, I just finished my chapter. Brendan, isn't that exciting?
Yeah.
It has been a long journey.
This chapter.
This chapter has been a long journey.
So will the next one.
Fuck, no.
And probably all of the ones after that.
Thank you.
That's a good thing. If I'm reading a book, I want what I'm reading to have been fucking hard for the author.
True, so you're saying the struggle is making it worthwhile.
Yeah.
Book is way harder than being a musician, it's true.
What's this segment?
It's the chapter wrap. The chapter wrap.
It's a wrap.
Bye, I love you. I'm not talking to you, I'm talking to the audience. Bye.
Adorable.